Welcome to the Survive to Thrive Radio Network at www.survive2thrive.net. Times are getting tough for most of us, and being prepared has never been more important. All of our hosts strive to keep you well informed so that you can achieve optimum health in all areas of your life. If you feel that the shows and website are informative, please share this information with your friends and family. If you would like to see certain topics covered, please let us know. Join us on Facebook to help spread the word. You can find the link at the bottom right of the Survive to Thrive homepage. Enter Health Botanicals is the sole sponsor for this network, providing you not only with important information, but also with highly effective products that produce real results, such as Enter Food, coconut milk powder, liver cleanse, Cocoa Mojo, Silymarin, NutriCafe, and introducing the new 40-day, 40-night organic preparedness pail. A preparedness supply unlike any other on the market today. Supporting Enter Health supports both this network and your own health. Without good health, we go nowhere. Go to Survive2thrive.net and click on the Enter Health banner on the top right for automatic discounts, or call them at 866-762-9238. That's 866-762-9238. You can also go to their website at www.enerfood.com. That's ENERF like Frank, OOD like dog.com. Enerfood.com. A big thank you to all of our listeners already taking the products that Enter Health offers. We truly appreciate it. We thank you for your support and encourage you to listen often to stay informed during these crucial times.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hawk coming to you live. It is Thursday night show 3/8/2018. And I'll tell you, this thing is just getting wilder and wilder. And I would just point out to you, it's very interesting. And I'll show you how Mr. Trump is at least trying to play on the chessboard rather than on the checkerboard. Because I'll tell you something, we have the ongoing announcement, which I didn't get to hear. It should be coming up here before too long, about probably that Kim Jong-un of North Korea is going to meet with Moon, the president of South Korea, and they're going to meet in the Panmunjom in the Peace House. And that there will be probably some kind of a request or a reach out or an invitation for President Trump to meet directly with Kim Jong-un with some unspecified promise, or we don't know what the promise will be as of this yet because the announcement's not been made. Well, fact is that we've got a interesting thing going on is that President Trump is primarily directed the steel tariff and the aluminum tariff directed at the Red Chinese. He's exempted Canada and Mexico, which allows then the NAFTA to still be in place at least, while the negotiations are going on, and they're not reacting negatively towards it. It's a North American thing. But what's going on here is interesting is that all of a sudden, Kim Jong-un, you see, in the event that the Chinese are going to go in a trade war with the U.S., all of a sudden Kim Jong-un, the lackey, the protocol guy, the proxy for the Red Chinese, all of a sudden comes out with a real nice thing, you see. And that's the key of what's going on. And I guess he is extending an invitation to meet with Trump. But we haven't heard the exact announcement as yet. So, that's what everybody's saying on the backside. We don't know what Trump will do because Trump had specified that you have to.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hawk got knocked off his computer again, which is just ducky. In the midst of the whole thing, we're back online. If you're just now doing it, reacquire. This is Hawk Live. It is 3/8/2018. It's Thursday night live show. So I have to do it from the old or cell phone or whatever it might be at this stage of the game here. So now the fact is, we were talking about the red Chinese coming in and looking at the fact that Trump is coming after them for the steel and aluminum dumping at costs below what it costs to make it here, and that we need a steel industry if we're going to go to war. And the possibility of war is extremely strong, either with North Korea, with Iran, with China, or with Russia, and all of the above, okay? And that would also include, by the way, Cuba, Venezuela, and other countries in South America, possibly, countries in Africa, possibly, because the Chinese have got all that stuff sewn up. I've been thinking about this, and Trump is definitely playing on the multidimensional chessboard, trying to and doing a good job. Now, the fact is here, you've got North America sort of like set, at least for now, because he's got the NAFTA agreement. He doesn't want to, violate that and start a ruckus. He's got Europe, which is basically never been for the United States, and then many of those countries, are going to have to side with Russia anyway. If you see how all of this is setting out, if you listened to me in 2004 when I was a guest on Steve Quayle's show, and I had not taken on, poor Steve, one of the nights of his radio broadcast back then, and then the two nights, and then Steve giving it all over to me, the two nights, and then me doing it all these years, 14 years or whatever it is now, 2018, I believe it'll be 14. Well, anyway, the things I said back then are all starting to come to pass because it's all about the Gog-Magog war and what's going to happen, and you're going to have a world war and all this kind of stuff, but the eagle gets taken out. Now, President Trump is doing the best he can do, and at the same time, he's quite interesting because he's looking to steal the labor vote away from the Democrats, okay, for the coming up election in the fall, and also for the next presidential election. He's trying to do some of that. He would have the coal workers and probably the steel workers, although he might lose some others. Of course, he's losing the Rhino. He's losing the Republicans, who are New World Order globalists, which is what he's losing. Well, they finally got together on the tax cut, but for the corporations, of course. And that's why Cohn, he called him a globalist, which doesn't mean Trump's anti-Semitic. It means that Trump is telling the truth. He's a globalist. He cares more for the global picture than he does for the U.S. picture. That's Cohn. So it's a good thing he's gone in a certain degree. Now, you've also got, of course, then again, he'll become an enemy on Wall Street. But you got now Jamie Dimon and the other people of J.P. Morgan saying that there's going to be a 40% drop in the stock market. Oh, it might run a year or so. Well, we're coming into a time where that may be shortened quite a bit, you see. But they're already telling you that the stock market's going to go down 40%. And that's J.P. Morgan is telling you that. Now, Buffett's playing games and blah, 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 and all this, and that, and the other. But then again, you have Microsoft, Bill Gates saying, there's going to be, not right away, but, and Warren knows best about all of this, but there's going to be another economic downturn or major financial problem. So do you think that when the head of J.P. Morgan and then Bill Gates tells you there's going to be a major financial upset and a 40% down on stocks and all of this, that quite frankly, there might be something getting ready to come up? We also know that the red Chinese are ready to bring out a gold-backed yuan renminbi. We talked to you about that 2 years ago, and all about the possibilities that might happen. Trump getting elected changed a little bit of that, and it wasn't quite the opportunity with Hillary Clinton that the Chinese and the Russians thought they might have. So now, on the other hand, we're getting all these scenarios where, California looks like it may be going to war, and I would tell you something. That is exactly what has been going on is that Jerry Brown has been playing footsie with Xi Jinping. And I'm going to tell you some more about this. Xi Jinping, the head of China, Prime Minister of China, I remember back when he was like the number 2 or 3 guy. I think he was the number 2 guy. I think they called her president or whatever. And I remember seeing a report and actually hearing his voice. He was speaking in, I believe, either English or Spanish to the Mexican audience, the big dogs in Mexico and government and industrial and trade officials and the big cartel people, bankers and what have you in Mexico, oil. And he was saying back, this has been at least probably 10 years ago, and I can remember Xi Jinping's translated the thing saying, aren't you getting tired of Uncle Sam, the big, the big gringo Yankee, the Yankee dogs telling you what to do and making you jump through hoops all the time? Aren't you tired of all of that? Why don't you come over to us? Now, that's about precisely at the time when the Red Chinese basically took over the port of Lázaro Cárdenas on the coast and bringing all their stuff over there, and it's one of their ports now, inbound from the U.S., and then a lot of that comes up, and it comes up on the rail lines and up I-35 through Texas and on up, and then, of course, according to the I-35 corridor, Kansas City is going to be the inland port, which is the railhead of the Kansas City Southern Rail Line, which goes down there directly into that port of Lázaro Cárdenas. And then, of course, 35 goes all the way down Texas and all the way up Oklahoma, Kansas, on up and keeps going up to the Canadian border, you see. Well, that's one of the major roads that they're doing. And, of course, if you recall, back 10, 12 years ago, when the Spanish king of Spain had a corporation that was trying to buy all the I-35 sections there by Austin, Texas. They're going to make it toll roads. Remember all of that when Alex Jones talked about that? All of that stuff was laying in the works and ready to go, and then now we've come down the road, and now Trump has thrown a little bit of a monkey wrench in their plans, and they're behind the schedule. They thought they could manage him totally with Cohn and all the people from Goldman Sachs, and also with McMaster's. McMaster's being I think, an MK Ultra type, New World Order stooge, then also perhaps a Muslim convert, and then, but basically what he is, he's Lucy in the sky, you know what I mean? Lucy in the sky with diamonds, And so Trump is trying to probably get rid of him. On the other hand, we've got tremendous turmoil within the United States. They're not really investigating. And I do take issue. I do not see what Sessions told exactly to Shannon Bream or whatever on Fox. I don't think we've got a special counsel already. I know Mr. Hagman has put out a story. He says already in place. I don't think that is true, okay? I think what is being done is just that somebody who is a prosecutor in justice is talking to the IG, the internal investigations, the not the attorney general, but the inspector general of the justice. But the problem is, just like Trey Gowdy and Goodlad have said, and all of this, that they're calling for a second special counsel. So I understand all of the stuff that's being put out on a nuance of what is apparently they said, but I'm telling you what, he says they're not afraid of looking at it, but the fact is, with the IG doing the investigations, they cannot go into Comey, they cannot go into McCabe, they cannot get anybody who's no longer in government to talk to them. That would be Susan Rice, Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, okay? all the different people that are involved. Sidney Blumenfeld working for Clinton. His buddy, what's his name, Shearson or Shear or whatever his name is, who's also involved. The Orrs, Mrs. Orr, could ever talk to her, because she is not working for the government. So all of this is ongoing, but we're also now being fed like a happy pill. There ain't no happy pill. And I don't think that we'll get to the fact of the matter with Sessions, because Sessions has basically been compromised from the beginning. Whatever it is they have on the man, and they probably have some old grainy video or some kind of an old thing where he's, in the old days, wore a Ku Klux Klan hat or a sheet or something somewhere. All right? Maybe, maybe not. Or either that or it's something from the old days, and maybe he was in a fraternity or something, and they got him in corpus delectat flagrante delecto, or whatever all that Latin junk is. You know what I mean? So the fact is here is that we're no further down the road, but we're closer to war. Now, you'll have to bear with me here a little bit. This has been an interesting evening already. My chair broke and all this kind of thing. And so what we're doing is I'm trying to look here at the paperwork that I've got laid out, and then on a short string here with the can, trying to get to the pack of paperwork. Well, anyway, if you look at the fact that we've got all kind of reports of a bird flu outbreak in H7N9 or HN79 or whatever it is in China that's killing people, and also it's killing a lot of birds, but it also has the ability to kill animals and all kind of different things, and that is starting to get going. I heard from a deep background source earlier, right before the show, is that in Great Britain, the Russian spy that looks like the Russians may have taken him and his kid out as far as some kind of a, long-term grudge against him for being the double agent with the MI6 on the trade with the Chapman woman, who was the American spy. But the fact of the matter is here is that what he's hearing, the source I'm telling you about, he's telling me that this stuff they did was not a gas, like a nerve gas, but some kind of a liquid that contains some sort of a nerve poison or toxin, a neurotoxin. And then I guess the reports are now up to 21 people who came in contact with them have got some really bad problems, in the hospital. And they're not exactly going into deeply what's going on with the symptoms and all that, but their people are in some deep trouble and fear for their life. But here's the deal. Apparently, or allegedly, let's just say allegedly, that from this deep background source, that this Russian guy and his daughter, but the Russian guy has been somehow involved with the Hillary Clinton and Obama crowd with regards to possibly the dossier and all of that stuff that was going after Trump. In other words, working with the MI6 or those kind of people and maybe somehow involved with it, or could confirm that Hillary Clinton and or the various players involved with her and Obama were the ones involved with the Russian and the MI6 spies in order to go after Trump. So that this could be then yet another type of, a Arkansas attempt. And what was interesting, while I was reading a book about some of the death lists and stuff of Clinton and all of that, it was quite interesting to see that I was reading all of that when I got the call. So you never know who's watching you or what's going on, but quite frankly, it's kind of interesting. We also have a war breaking out almost between India and Pakistan, and the Pakistanis have shot down an Indian drone. So that is going to be something that could go on. I talked to you about that in 2004 when Steve said, Hawk, you seem to understand what's getting ready to go on based on your understanding of Ezekiel 38:39 and the implications that would have throughout the world. Why don't you go ring around the rosy and tell me what's going to happen? Well, I went through all kinds of scenarios, not, and boy, they're all popping on on all 12 cylinders, And it's getting really interesting. India, Pakistan, with Pakistan being aligned directly with Red China again, you see. And then we have, of course, the U.S. Navy says the USS McCain sudden turn led to deadly collision that killed 10 soldiers. Well, no Shiite Sherlocks. The command of the U.S. Navy are a bunch of punk people right now, and they're trying to make this thing all out to be a totally training and bad sailors and bad chiefs and bad officers, and that is not what this is about. This is about the fact, which they can't tell you, that the Red Chinese, the Russians, the Iranians, and it was a Russian-Iranian breakthrough on some new electronic warfare stuff that has allowed them to take out quite a few of our Arleigh Burke class, Aegis class, destroyers. And when the Sukhoi flew over in the USS Donald Cook in the Black Sea, remember back 5 years ago now, and did something, and then all of a sudden all the lights went out except for the emergency lights, all the Aegis, all the defensive capability, all the radars, all the offensive targeting, all the engines, all of it except for emergency lights to see in the corridors went totally turned off by the Russian one plane flying overhead. At that point in time, if you recall the story, it was the Donald Cook. The people on that came back from that cruise, and they said, we're getting out of the Navy. And then we had the carrier group out of Norfolk, remember? And they went out and they were doing exercises in the Atlantic, and they had a whole coterie of different escort ships and destroyers and Arleigh Burkes and this one and that one and this cruiser and the sub and this and that and all the different things. And they got taken out by a cheap, years old French submarine. And none of the Aegis stuff, which is supposed to have been upgraded, worked on it or did anything. So if you remember, that admiral brought that into port. And he brought it back to Norfolk, and he said he wasn't going to sail, and they delayed the sailing of an entire carrier group until he said he got satisfied that the thing was fixed. They said it was fixed, and immediately they go out to sea, and they start getting some targeting crap from the Russians and planes and subs and different stuff, and they have to pull into England to get back to a shipyard to fix this stuff. So the fact of the matter is the U.S. is vulnerable, except at the highest level of conflict. And I talked about that years ago because I said the Russians, they have Squall torpedoes that would go supersonic underwater. I said the Iranians had those. Remember I talked to you about the Super Sunburn missile with the nuclear tips that were provided either through the black market to Iran or through the Russian advisors who are still sitting in Iran with them, ready to affix them to the missiles. Okay. Since then, the Iranians have also obtained a U.S. Space drone, an X-33 type drone, okay, or X-47, whatever they called it this week. And that was probably obtained through Red China. And then the Iranians have great scientists, and they know what's going on, and good engineers. So they also got to work with the EW and the Russians, and they came up with the EW that is able to take out most of our stuff. We're trying to catch up quickly. I told you about this last year. But we're still being able to be taken out with a lot of our first line naval and air assets. Now, we're talking about space wars, and primarily the Air Force is really trying to push the space wars because they want $24 billion. They've been cut out, and it's interesting to see Brother Quayle had up. Yeah, they're doing witchcraft and got all kinds of mind control crap going on, and witchcraft and Lucy this and Lucy that and pagan this, and change your sex, change your demon, all that kind of crap going on at the Air Force Academy. And then they got that culture permeating through their whole system. I've also told you in past years about how I knew somebody whose son was at the Air Force Academy. And the son woke up kind of in the middle of, out of a hypnotic trance. And he looked around, and all of his classmates in the room were in a hypnotic trance. And the big screen up above was like doing weird programming with weird symbols flashing and weird noises and strange voiceovers and that kind of stuff, while the one or two of the proctors up there had their earphones on, not listening to it, were watching the class. Well, at that point in time, he told his father, and the father went to talk about it, and they told him, hey, you better shut up, leave, and he physically took his son out of the Air Force Academy. And he took his shooting iron ready to go if he needed that. Now, I won't tell you where that guy's from, but I didn't know the man, and he did take his kid out. And all this stuff is ongoing, and then they need the money. Well, I'm going to tell you, we've been in space. We've been at war in space for quite some time. I mean, Roosevelt had the Interplanetary Studies Group. 1942, we had a saucer pop down and land in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, or crash down there. I've talked to people who were at that crash, somebody who knew the reverend whose church was very near to there, and talked to them. Quite interesting. That's 42. And you got the Roswell stuff. You got the Foo Fighters all during World War II. We've been out of space, and the Nazis, when you find out about the Hannibal 1, 2, 3, the Miet, all the different Nazi spacecraft and rocket craft and all the stuff they were doing. And Brother Evenson also had a relative who was worked at the Redstone Arsenal in Alabama with Werner von Braun back in the old days. And Brother Greg was going to tell some interesting things about that before he passed on. Don't know what he was going to say, and Steve doesn't either, but he was going to go on with Steve and tell a lot of stuff. But whatever it is, the Lord took him to heaven, and I have seen the vision of Brother Greg in heaven, fit as a fiddle, with that big smile on his face. And God bless him, and Jesus has got him now, and I hope they're training him up to come against the Luciferians when it comes to time, because Greg will be the one to do it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just trying to tell you here now that this thing is going to go wild. Sessions is basically gone after and gone out to California on this thing, and that's all really fine and good. But China's tied in with that, as I'm telling you. You remember that they were talking about seceding from the Union, and Red China was working with Jerry Brown and all that kind of stuff. Remember all of that? We had all that kind of a thing, all right? And that was just last year. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a case where I think what's getting ready to happen is still what I thought was going to get ready to happen, which is Ezekiel 38:39. And then I tell you what, let's just go back to what the New World Order people have always had to say here. And I read this to some of it to you before. I'll read it again because this is what's going to go on. This is just as likely, if not more likely, to happen than happy days are here again and everything's going to be ducky in America. Here it is. We are on the verge of global transformation. All we need is the right major crises.
Hello there, and welcome to the bottom of the hour. This is Darren Craddock for Inner Health Botanicals, sole sponsor of the Survive to Thrive Radio Network. Bringing you The Hawk on Thursdays and Fridays, Nurse Amy and Dr. Bones on Tuesdays, and myself with Total Health Freedom on Mondays and Wednesdays. We are all here to keep you informed and tell you more about how to stay healthy and aware. We talk on staying well naturally, being prepared, growing your own, and more. With the right tools, foods, and information, we give you the kind of truth that will set you free. Please support our network.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Hawk on Survive2thrive.net. And I'll tell you what, if you want to keep old Hawk on the air and help me to try to keep swinging the bats at the Lucy shins and straight out his ear and temples and trying to knock the old Lucy out of the box, to strike blows against the enemies of Lord Jesus. And then secondarily, I was told to help to try to warn his remnant, those with ears to hear and eyes to see, about what is going to come and how to prepare. And I'm talking to all of you who have ears to hear and eyes to see. If I get anybody else on, then that's fine, fine and good. You want to keep old Hawk on the air, keep old Hawk rolling. Anything would be much appreciated and needed. And it could be FRNs, Federal Reserve notes, it could be metals, it could be check, money order, send it to Hawk, 3965 West 83rd Street, number 356, Prairie Village, Kansas, 66208. Hawk, 3965 West 83rd Street, number 356, Prairie Village, Kansas, 66208. And may the Lord Jesus return it to you 10,000-fold. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, if you're getting ready to, think about what you need to be doing, I would also try to put up some extra long-term storage food. You got the 30-day, 40-night pails, Interhealth Protect, high-quality organic food. You also have the meal replacement powders, the organic protein powders, the inner food itself, which will help to stretch if you're using other long-term storage food, or if you're canning your own, like Lady J there, and the Smokies, and Blue Ridge, and or the old Stagecoach stop, DM up there. God bless you. All the Nebraska people, all the other canning people I hear from time to time. Just keep doing it. Keep putting it away, because everything that you've got to eat in the future, label it all up, rotate it, do all the things properly, of course. But all the things you're going to have is going to keep, when something goes down, and everything to me is still pointed at Function Junction. I know it's been a long time, and I've been telling you to prepare over the years. And I'm going to tell you what, a lot of you now are much more prepared than you were. Even those people who just, if you can buy an extra can of chunky soup a week or two, put it in a case underneath your bed, in the closet, pretty soon, you've got 1 day of food, 2 days of food, and, you can eat a can of chunky soup and be a day's ration, all right? You put a little bread or, some dandelion greens, something from the old garden, if you've got a garden going, which you should be starting to get your seeds ready to go. And in some places already planting, but a lot of people plant them indoors, get ready to roll for the big season, and try to get something in. Anything you can get in will be a benefit. But I'll tell you what, that inner food, the other powders will help you to stretch the other long-term storage food and keep it. So you can go to innerfood.com, ENERFOOD.com, innerfood.com. And then when you order any of it, or you call them on the phone, you can call InnerHealth Botanicals at 866-762-9238, 866-762-9238. And you can tell them Hawk sent you, because they keep the show, up and running, and they provide the place for me to do some talking. Now, the other people, what we're talking about here is basically, we're talking about the New World Order. We're talking about Lucifer wanting to come onto the planet, you see. And here's old Ted Turner, good old Ted. A total world population of 250 to 300 million, or a 95% decline from present levels, would be ideal. Ted Turner in an interview with Audubon magazine. Richard N. Gardner, Foreign Affairs, April 1974. In short, the house of world order will have to be built from the bottom up rather than from the top down. It will look like a great booming, buzzing confusion, to use William James' famous description of reality. But an end run around national sovereignty, eroding it piece by piece, will accomplish much more than the old-fashioned frontal assault. Well, now you see they got Trump spoiling that. Trump coming in and going after the globalists, and then they can manage him and do all of that. Now here's Prince Philip. We're going to have this great royal wedding, right? In the event that I am reincarnated, I would like to return as a deadly virus in order to contribute something to solve overpopulation. Prince Philip, reported by Deutsche Press, Asian Tour, August 88. And then he goes ahead and says it again, and said it earlier in 86, I must confess that I am tempted to ask for reincarnation as a particularly deadly virus. That was in the If I Were an Animal, United Kingdom, Robin Park Limited in 1986. Oh, boy, and it is the sacred principles enshrined in the United Nations Charter to which the American people will henceforth pledge their allegiance. President George Herbert Walker Bush, addressing the General Assembly of the United Nations, February 1, 1992. I don't think so, George Herbert Walker Bush. And you guys, you had your son, Jeb. You spent $24 billion, and he basically was tired old goofball Jeb. You paid money to have Karl Rove, Turd Blossom, and all kinds of your people, Dana Perino and all kinds of people, even be put up and circulated through Fox News to try to also be the anti-Trumpers. You paid, just along as Soros has paid, all kinds of stuff to try to destroy the American people, and everybody looks, and now you've got George W. going after Trump. You got all of it at the same time. Trump tried to help Jeb's son, in Texas get elected, which he did help him get through the the early elections, the primaries, yes. So anyway, now I don't necessarily think that Sessions has appointed another special counsel. And if he had, he would have told Trey Gowdy and Goodlatte, and they would not have put that out. What he is doing, and it's being, I believe, misread, what's happening or what he's doing is the fact that, that's great. Right in the middle of this whole thing, my email, they want me to look at a beta type of my email. Isn't that great? These people are just trying to drive me crazy to make it sound like you don't want to listen to me. Well, let me tell you something. Every time I do that, I'm going back. They wouldn't let me change it back. Now I'm going back to what I had, and so here we are. I don't think we've got the happy days here again. Sessions already appointed special counsel. If that's the case, there's enough information just on Uranium One, on the Hillary Clinton emails. And did you hear Trey Gowdy, which I think Trey Gowdy's been turned to a certain degree, and I think he's not going to run, not because I don't believe, in my opinion, that he's just fed up with D.C. I think he has some too many hairdos in the closet, sort of a thing in the closet, if you understand. Or what do they call it, the cloakroom in the Congress? I think that to a certain degree, too many hairdos, too many fancy dance stuff, and I think that's part of the problem, and I think that may be what is in the background that's sort of making him turn. Because you see, even with what he announced with Goodlatte, the letter demanding a second special counsel to be appointed by Sessions, he says he really doesn't want to go after. They just want to confine it to the FISA court stuff. But if he does not get into it, and if he does not indict Comey, if he does not indict McCabe for crimes, if he does not indict Susan Rice, Yates, Strzok, Lisa Page, indict them, put them in jail, do it, then the American people will never, ever trust, and I don't care how many times Trey Gowdy says it, And everybody says, oh, Trey Gowdy. Well, fact of the matter is, I don't necessarily believe what he's got to say now completely either. Now, he and Goodlad are putting this out. There's been a whole lot of other people want it, but you really want to know the truth. Most of the stuff has disappeared from the radar screen. They used to put all the pictures up, all over the net. But now the people are trying to take the net down. CNN, all the big money, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, they're all working. All of the giant New World Order, Luciferian scum are trying to get rid of all of the alternative news media. Alex Jones, the Health Ranger, they've demonetized Quail on YouTube and stuff. They've knocked out Tim Alberino. I used to have a lot of my shows used to be on YouTube. They got knocked out of the box, as far as I can tell. All right, and I never put them up, but other people did put them up. I tried to look at them or monitor them to make sure didn't have it up there with some weird bad stuff, but I mean, as best I could. But mostly people had it put up, honestly, what the show was and did that. It used to be on other websites. No longer goes on those other websites. People would put it out somewhere else. The fact of the matter is they're trying to get rid of all of the alternative media. And I'll tell you what, I had somebody try the old storm door on the front door the other night, and I had to get my glockenspiel out again, and, and a few other items at the side, and I had to clear all the different, areas, and look around and see what was there, and I stayed up all night long at the ready, and I was already up all night long, and I had the stuff at the ready. So whoever tried the door, you want to go to your Allah, you want to go to your Chinese seventh hell, you want to go to your scumbag Luciferian deal, then that's going to be your choice. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to let you have it a bunch of times if you try to come through my door, or you want to come at me in the car, you want to come at me outside. That's the way it's going to be. All right. So don't do it. You can check in with the mighty men of valor and ask them how many times they took the trash out. And that's all I know about it, because I was just told that the trash was taken out, 8 times. All right? So quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you is that this thing we're looking at, to me, in my way of thinking, we're still heading down the path here to look at the possibility of war or civil war. And if you saw that the freeway, 163, the smaller freeway there in San Diego, near a mall and a Veterans Administration Center and all kinds of stuff, and that freeway that they, cut into a 20-inch, a third-party, quote-unquote, a third-party contractor. Now, we've heard that before, cut into a 20-inch gas line. Now, the call before you dig, and then the fact is, if you got a contractor who works for, San Diego Gas and Electric, or works for the big general contractor building something there, you don't think that they're known that they should call the city or call the utilities and have them come out and put the spray paint where it's at so they don't dig there? You better believe they do that every single time. You remember in Kansas City, we had a weird deal with an apartment complex in the midst of all those weird deals back a couple of years ago. It was on the Kansas side, and it was an apartment complex that burnt to the ground. Remember, a huge one right by an expressway, you see. And then we also had the hydrochloric acid, a truck filled with hydrochloric acid. What were they trying to do? Beat the train. Oh, doesn't that kind of remind you about the garbage truck in West Virginia when the Congress people were there? Well, that hydrochloric acid went up. They had to evacuate that area. All of these things are exactly what the Spetsnaz overture would be involved with. Now, people say, oh, well, the Russians don't have this, the Russians don't have that. Oh, they're just, grandstanding for the election. The fact of the matter is the Russians, along with the Iranians, and they've also given it over to the Chinese, who are an ally militarily, economically, in energy went in finances with Russia and with Iran and with North Korea and with Venezuela and some other places. And then the Red Chinese own most of South America, own most of Africa. And you remember when George W. Bush was going to go down to South America, he's going to sign everybody up for big trade deals with the U.S. And going to start a new, like a NAFTA, but it was going to be the SAFTA, remember? South American Free Trade Agreement and all that, going to have their headquarters in Atlanta. All these things. You remember all that crap? And he went down there, and the Red Chinese had already been there 3 weeks before, signed up 47 different deals. Then when he went, and he only had one Secret Service man with him, and he was going to go into an auditorium in Chile. In Chile there, you see. And you remember at the door in that the Chilean security, blocked Bush's Secret Service man. Bush was alone inside the door for a moment until he physically had to, and he was strong enough to do it. I'll give him that. He pushed back the Chilean security guard and bumped the door out to let in his Secret Service man. Well, what was that all about? That wasn't much respect, was it? So the fact is that we've got a lot of people that would be against us anyway. And I'm going to tell you what, if you don't have steel, you can't make tanks, you can't do anything. You don't have aluminum, you can't do, aerospace. You don't have that, you can't do much, in the way of all of the different items you're going to need in a war. Now, I don't know if Mr. Trump really knows the full capabilities of his space assets. I suspect that he thinks we have a few things, but I don't think that he's been cleared, thanks to McMaster's Madison at all. Kelly, I don't think he's been cleared, as high up as he should be. And for President Trump, in case you're there, you have access to and could command solar wardenships with 10, 15,000 different space marines or space, infantry units on them. You can command TR-3Bs, TR-4s, and also larger different craft of a number of different types. Your people, some of your people were able to have abscond with silver bugs, alien spacecraft that had some of the six-finger Samuels, the fallen angel types, or the offspring or hybrids of them from other planets, you see, that have been taken over. There's a silver bug that the U.S. has in their possession. All of the different spacecraft and all the different things that were absconded with or reverse engineered after crash. You have a lot of that at your disposal. You have permanent space platforms. You have the you've got the Death Star. It's actually, they call it the Death Star. Mr. Trump, look and see if they might be able to help you put that up out of Sigonella in Italy. And you need to get somebody who's physically tough enough to surround you, that you trust, your own Praetorian Guard, so that you don't get into trouble like JFK did when he started poking around in what the real capability is of outer space and the different stuff was. Because most of that has been sublimated into the corporate world, into the corporate world. And you got all the skunk works and the anthill and at the Tehachapi and the China Lake and all the different stuff and all the DARPA hives and all the stuff in Sandia and Los Alamos, all of that. And then, of course, Dulce and a whole lot of underground stuff all over the place. And I'm going to tell you what, you ain't going to see nothing yet if you pay attention more to the Bible than what we got on TV, then you'll be closer to what's getting ready to happen. You know Matthew 24 and Luke 21. You know who's going to betray you. You know that it's going to get so bad. It's never been this bad ever before, nor ever shall be. And that if the Luciferians, in terms of trying to kill all the people for the blood sacrifice to Lucifer, and incidentally, we got Lassa fever out there that's killing. We got the guy from the CDC who was the expert on Ebola. He's turned up missing, and they can't find him. We had a deal with this Russian guy now in England, which they're trying to put onto the Russians. But maybe, in fact, it's another Arkanside. We've got all kind of people involved with this that are doing stuff. Now, in Arkansas, Interestingly enough, in Arkansas, we got a case down there that involves ricin, okay? And which is a toxic, bad boy thing. And then the fact is, if these guys in the Russian double agent and his daughter in Salisbury Plain there where they were at, Salisbury in England, if they've had about 21 people now that come in contact with them or touch them, all right, and they've got symptoms now, then there's something, there's either a liquid in something they drank at the pub there, or it was something that they touched while they were in the little, I don't know, the equivalent of a British 7-Eleven or a little, grocery or whatever, where he also bought a lottery ticket, you see. And I don't know what he's waving his hand around in the air, weird. Maybe he's giving the motion of the ticket or whatever when he reached and grabbed the ticket from whoever the guy is. I would definitely look into there, but they're looking into that place. They're looking into the pub. They're looking into all of the stuff on the street there, and there's some bad juju coming down on that. I would urge you not to use the pen at the 7-Eleven or at the gas station. I would urge you to have your own pen, if you know what I mean. I would urge you to minimize the amount of touching you do in public of any kind of railings, handles, all that kind of stuff, shaking hands with people, because they can shake hands with you. And you ever shake hands with somebody who has like a weird lotion on their hand or grease or something? You know, I'm not talking about a car repair guy or a workman, but I'm talking about, somebody that's got a weird lotion. You never know if that's a DMSO, which can then open your skin and then transfer the poison to you. While they've got underneath their DMSO, you see, and underneath they've got another a layer that they've painted on their skin like a super glue to protect them from that going into their own skin. So they also could do it on your doorknob or your car handles, all that kind of stuff. I tell you, you need to start to watch that crap out and watch what's going on, and you need to buy food. You need to buy firearms. They're coming for the firearms in California and in Seattle. In Seattle, they had a guy where it was legal to be open carry in an area, and he was just walking down the street looking in the windows, and the lefty type said, he was looking crazy. So he did nothing wrong. He broke no law, threatened no one, did not brandish a weapon, anything, and they knocked him down, took his gun, and arrested him. And then they're also got the whole gun confiscation, special units now in California. And then, of course, all over the place, they're starting to do knock and talk. Knock and talk. Saying, when they used to come, they started doing this in St. Louis. They started out in North St. Louis doing this back a few years ago, if you recall. They would always come after the kids would come home from school, but before Mom and Dad would get home from work, you see. So they'd come at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4:30, rather than come at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock whenever the Mom or Dad worked, and would usually come home. And they would ask them, do you have any guns in the house? Your Mom and Dad have any guns? Or do you have guns? Or what else do you have? Do you have any of this? Do you have any drugs? Do you have blah? Well, we're going to have to come in to see that right now. We're the police. No warrants. Come on in. Do all the stuff. And then you also got the scenarios where they, back in the total information awareness era, old Admiral Poindexter, who was Ollie North's boss. Poindexter had the Luciferian, light, the light bringer, the Eye of Ra, the Lucy Eye with the prism coming out of it, going all over the globe, and that was the new, Total Information Awareness Network. Well, that's already been being done by the NSA, and then everybody up there, and they're listening, watching, taking everything, first fruits, upstream, as they say, getting everything that you text, everything you email, every search engine search that you do, every cell phone thing you do, every time you talk on your satellite phone, every time you talk on long distance, every time you talk in a telephone booth, if there's still any left, anytime that you talk on your landline at home, They have all of that stuff up in the thing. Every time you talk on your car, when you tell your car, do this, or when you've got Alexa listen to everything you're doing. They're watching you through the TV, and I'm going to tell you something. They're going to come for these guns at some point in time. They're going to manufacture a civil war. I see Mr. Hodges, Dave Hodges, has written that again. And there's going to be something coming. I've been telling you for years. This stuff is getting ready to come down the pike. I still think it could be lights out, EMP blast knocks out all the lights and the power grid of the computers and most of the vehicles. I think that's probably still one of the best ways they could do it because that allows them plausible deniability, you see. They could even blame it on the sun or something. Or they do a release one of these things, the new Ebolas or the new bird flu in China that the University of Wisconsin seems to be involved with, the Chinese scientists as well. And you just hope that they don't, release it. But they've been testing it now, testing that bird flu on all the different mammals and all the different type of test animals, including primates, to see how it does. And it does kill a lot of people. And it seems like you can get it easier, they said, than some of the other bird flus. What have I been telling you year after year after year? If you got that money in the bank and you can't, better get you something to eat, something to defend yourself with, nuclear, biological, and chemical protection gear. Medical supplies. Those herbal tinctures from Inner Health Botanicals. You get those herbal tinctures, you can do yourself some good. You can do yourself a world of good with them. And you can also get with the basic stuff. You can get the basic nutrients and stay alive in this hunt and try to, stick around till the Lord Jesus comes back and cleans these Luciferian scum's clocks. But his angels, when they come back and they pluck out the tares, you hearing me out there, you evil people, you tares, you people in the high Lucy government and intel and military and banking, you ain't going to win. Poppy Bush, you ain't going to win. We're not going to subjugate ourselves to the UN. Don't go into the Luciferian knife without a fight, ladies and gentlemen. Stand up for your family and Bill of Rights, Lord Jesus. And I'll tell you what, Fandango Rangers, I know you're ready. Mighty men and women about her, come back out of the ether and zap them with your high tech. And Mickey Lapua, keep your eye on the optics, Mickey, and squeeze that old trigger. Don't jerk it. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry to be on the cell phone, but we got a show going on, and that's the way we're going to keep trying to do it. We got to back up, and we're going to keep trying to stay up.